Episode 7, Christmas 1952. The London and North Eastern Railway was one of the so-called Big Four companies, formed during the 1923 Grouping Act in Britain. In this form, with engines from the Northeastern region and the Great Northern Railways, it lasted a mere 25 years but left an everlasting impression of luxury, prestige, and speed. 40 years after the end of British mainline steam, these are the stories they tell. Snow came early to the British Isles, and everywhere in every region, the engines of the British railways found it difficult to do their work. Unless, of course, you were Tavish, the goods engine. Tavish was fitted with a snowplow and coupled up to an old carriage and spent the days clearing the tracks come snow or shine. The snow fell harder on Christmas Eve, and Tavish found he had too much work. He would come back from clearing one line only to find another blocked. It seemed only a matter of hours before another blockage was reported elsewhere. Goods trains piled up in the sidings with no sign of relief. Tavish and Herbert were constantly frustrated with the sheer weight of the trains. Herbert complained bitterly, reckoning that he spent more time slipping on the icy rails than making progress. "It's just not funny," Herbert muttered to Stephen at the junction. The two engines were waiting for their respective paths to clear, and Herbert was seething. I only just got out of the yard this morning, and there's more snow everywhere. Why can't the weather be good for a change?" Stephen, with a knowing smile, replied, "Because this is the British Isles. The weather has always been like this, every year for as long as I can remember." Herbert blew off steam, frustrated. Just then, a whistle sounded from the branch line, and Tavish appeared, dragging what appeared to be a long blue-white mound. The mound turned out to be Alan, who had frozen to the bone and shivering as he passed them. "Oh," Tavish said grumpily, "as if I didn't have enough work to do. You go and get yourself stuck in a snowbank." I didn't mean to," Alan shivered, and Stephen laughed. "He sounds just like you, Herbert. Except you're not frozen to the pipes," he teased. No, but I'm still cold," Herbert said, and puffed away. Back at the yard, the engines had an indignation meeting. Alan was fired up once more and looking warmer. But Herbert, Tavish, and even Nigel were cross. "Oof, all of this snow is taking up my time," Tavish said. "We need another engine to help me out." Herbert agreed, but Nigel didn't. "If we had another engine to shunt around the yard," he said, "the goods trains would be sorted quicker, and we wouldn't have to worry about the snow because the trains would go when the lines were clear." "Ugh, but how could the trains go when the lines aren't clear?" Tavish replied. Their argument was interrupted when Sir Ralph backed into the shed, seething with rage. "You there, the little goods engine! A word, please!" "Whatever you've done, it's not worth arguing," Nigel said quickly. "Just agree and puff away." "Ugh, I'll be having none of this," Tavish exclaimed angrily as Sir Ralph backed down next to him. "Why aren't you out clearing the main line?" Sir Ralph demanded, blowing off steam furiously. "All my passengers are stuck in hostels because the line is closed." "Ugh, there's only so much one engine can do," Tavish responded angrily. "I've been working for 3 days solid, clearing lines without any help." "Well, naturally," Sir Ralph sniffed. "I am not a goods engine." "You could be a shunter, let alone a goods engine, you lazy trumped-up excuse for the steam engine," Tavish retorted. "You're just a heaping pile of scrap metal." "Well, I've never been so—" "Ugh!" Sir Ralph hissed angrily. "Just you wait. I've never been so—" Their heated exchange was interrupted by Alan, who emerged from the shed sneezing terribly. "Let's concentrate on the passengers. I have an idea." And Alan told his driver, who told the foreman his idea. The foreman agreed and spoke to both Sir Ralph and Tavish's drivers. Tavish snorted angrily when his driver told him, "No way! I'm not work with that feeble, Sir Ralph spluttered. "Hark at the good snowplow thingy! Thingy, why I oughta..." "Ah, shut it!" Nigel snapped. "It's a good idea, and we need to clear the main line." Grumbling fiercely, Tavish and Sir Ralph puffed away. Coupled together, back to back with an old carriage between them, the two engines cleared the main line. Each time Tavish got stuck in the snow, Sir Ralph pulled hard to free him. It was cold and hard work, and the wind blew fiercely over the two engines, chilling them to the frames. It was approaching midnight when their work finished, and they returned to the shed cold and miserable. "I dunno fast why we even bothered," Tavish grumbled to Sir Ralph. "It'll just snow again." "That's why you cleared the main line," Stephen said, and the engines looked. The signal dropped, and a whistle sounded. The last passenger train of the night puffed past the junction, and onwards back home. "It wouldn't have done to keep passengers at the station on Christmas Eve," Stephen remarked, and the two engines looked very guilty. "Yes, well," Sir Ralph stammered. "That's very true." He looked at Tavish. "Forgive me, Tavish. Your work is very difficult and..." "Say no more," Tavish said with a wink. "You'd be embarrassing yourself otherwise." Sir Ralph gave a rare smile. Alan sneezed loudly. "Achoo!" he said, sniffing slightly. "Well, it's just gone past midnight. Merry Christmas, everyone." "Merry Christmas," murmured the tired engines, who went to sleep contentedly.